Hello, beautiful learners. Hope you're doing great. I'm also good by the grace of Almighty. So it's our day 55, and in this lesson, we're going to practice IELTS listening practice test with answers and proper explanation. So before going to start our class, I just need to check whether you can hear me as well as the audio track. So just give me a few seconds to check it. Okay.
You will hear a number of different recordings, and you will have to answer questions based on what you hear. There will be time for you to read the instructions and questions, and you will have a chance to check your work. All the recordings will be played once only.
Okay, I'm quite confident that you are listening me as well as the audio track. So let's begin the class, and let's listen the instruction from the man as he was delivering the instruction. Okay, let's listen it from the beginning.
You will hear a number of different recordings, and you will have to answer questions based on what you hear. There will be time for you to read the instructions and questions, and you will have a chance to check your work. All the recordings will be played once only. The test is in 4 sections. At the end of the test, you will be given 10 minutes to transfer your answers to the answer sheet.
Okay, I hope you got the instruction from him, and let's see. Okay, I hope you can see the another instruction for us. Let's read it. Okay, no more than 3 words and or a number for each answer. Okay, so we are allowed to write 3 words, and if we need, we can use another number. Okay, so we also see there is a sample one visible on the paper. I hope you can see it, and the answer is theft. Okay, and the sample, okay, so the keyword for this sample one is crime. Let me highlight it. Okay, and the answer is theft. Okay, let's listen it first.
Now turn to for you. On this occasion only, the conversation relating to this will be played first.
Good afternoon, Sussex Constabulary, PC Browning speaking.
Good afternoon. I would like to report a theft.
Right, madam. First I need to get your details before we can proceed.
Fine. Go ahead.
The crime is theft. So, you write THEFT in the space provided.
So I hope you got the sample one. Okay, so let's begin it with question number 1. Okay, and let's read it to find out keywords for this question. Okay, so here we can see it's victims detail. Now, okay, we are going to listen it all about victims detail. Okay, let me highlight it. And for keywords for question number 1, let me highlight. Name of victim is Mr. blah blah. Let's listen it and let's write it. Okay,
You should answer the question. Listen carefully.
Constabulary, PC Browning speaking.
Good afternoon. I would like to report a theft.
Right, madam. First I need to get your details before we can proceed.
Fine. Go ahead.
Could you give me your first name and surname, please?
Yes, it's Mary Tyndale.
Could you spell your surname, please?
Yes, it's T-I, that's I, not Y, N-D-A-L-E.
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Was that an N or an M, you said?
I know, the line's not good. I said N, not M.
Okay. And your home address and postcode?
Okay, so we just write it, her last name, yeah, and surname, okay? But he was saying his name is Mary Tendet. Okay, sorry, it would, okay. So we should write Mary because Mary is easy to write, okay? So let's listen it once again, okay?
Or an
L-E-I.
surname, please?
Mary.
Could you give me your first name and surname, please?
Yes, it's Mary Tyndale.
Could you spell your surname, please?
Yes, it's T-I, that's I, not Y, N-D-A-L-E.
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
I hope you got it, okay? Now let's listen for address. Let me highlight. Blah blah. Avenue Park Road. Swindon, okay? Avenue Park Road. Swindon. Okay, let's listen it.
Was that an N or an M you said?
I know, the line's not good. I said N, not M.
Okay. And your home address and postcode?
4 Larch Avenue, Park Road, Swindon.
Sorry, you said 4 Larch Avenue, as in L-A-R-C-H.
Yes, and the postcode.
I hope you got it, okay? So let's listen it one more time.
As in,
Swindon. Larch Avenue.
okay. And your home address and postcode?
4 Larch Avenue, Park Road, Swindon.
Okay, I hope you got it. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Okay, let's listen it for question number 3. Okay.
Sorry, you said 4 Larch Avenue, as in L-A-R-C-H.
Yes, and the postcode is FN1 SW19.
Before listening to
Okay, so she was saying it's FN1 SW19. Okay. Oh, sorry, it should be in capital. Okay, let's listen it one more time. Okay.
S.
You, as in L-A-R-C-H.
Yes, and the postcode is FN1 SW19.
before listening to the rest
I hope you got it. Okay. So it's up to you whether you can use a space here or not. It's up to you. Okay. So I'm not going to use space. Okay. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Question number 4. So now we are going to listen it all about article stolen. Okay, stolen bag. Okay, let me highlight it. And 2, this is the keyword for question number 4. 2 blah blah and a black shoulder strap. Okay, let's listen it for question number 4.
of the conversation, you have some time to look at carefully and answer questions.
Browning speaking.
Good afternoon.
Could you
E M
or
yes. You.
You have some time to look at questions. Now listen and answer questions 4 to 10.
Okay, that's fine. Now, you said you would like to report a theft.
Yes, my handbag was stolen this morning.
Can you describe your handbag?
Well, it's quite an ordinary white leather bag with 2 black leather handles. Oh, and a...
With 2 leather handle. Okay, let me put it. 2 black leather, L-E-H-E-R-H-A-T-L-E, handle. Okay, those would be the answer. Let's listen it one more time. Okay.
Ordinary white awning.
Can you describe your handbag?
Well, it's quite an ordinary white leather bag with 2 black leather handles. Oh, and a black shoulder strap too.
Okay, here we got it. Now let's listen for question number 5. Let me highlight it. Blah blah. First channel on the top. Okay, let's listen it.
Any other features you could describe?
It's quite plain. There isn't any picture or design on the front. There's also a zip fastener on the top.
How about the contents?
So she's saying these are also zip fasten on the top. So zip would be the answer. Okay, let's listen it once again.
It's quite plain. There isn't any picture or design on the front. There's also a zip fastener on the top.
Okay, here we got it. Now let's listen for question number 6. Now we're going to listen it for contents. Okay, let me highlight. And blah blah with some money as well as blah blah. So we are going to listen it for 6 first, then we will listen it for 7. Okay, let's listen it for 6 first. Okay.
How about the contents? Did you have any valuables in it?
Luckily, no. I left my iPad at home along with my mobile. I'm quite forgetful sometimes. I had a purse in it though, with a small amount of...
So she's saying, oh, I had a purse in it too. So purse would be the answer. Okay, let me put it. Purse. Okay. Now let's listen it for 6 or 7. Then we will listen them once again. Okay.
...of money, as well as my I had a purse in it though, with a small amount of money, as well as my driving license.
As well as a driving license. So driving license would be the answer. Let me put it. Driving L-I-C-E-N-C-E, driving license. Okay, let's listen once again for question number 6 and 7. Okay.
I had along...
Have any valuables in it?
Luckily, no. I left my iPad at home along with my mobile. I'm quite forgetful sometimes. I had a purse in it though, with a small amount of money, as well as my driving license.
Okay, I hope it's quite clear to you now. Okay. Now we are going to listen it for question number 8. Okay, it's all about, we are going to listen it all about other details. Okay, let me highlight. And victim's contact number. Okay, now we are going to listen it for phone number maybe. Okay, let's listen it.
My keys and personal items and so on, I always keep about me in my coat pocket.
Okay, that's fine. All I need to have is your phone number or other contact number.
My mobile number is 07900381988.
Sorry, was that 88 at the end?
Yes, that's right.
So let's listen it one more time.
9.
The contact number.
My mobile number is 07900381988.
Sorry, was that...
Okay, I hope you got it. Okay, now let's listen it for question number 9, crime number. Okay, now we're going to listen it for crime number. Okay, let's listen it.
88 at the end.
Yes, that's right.
Thank you. That's all I need for now. You need a crime number.
Okay, I'll just get a pen.
Ready?
Go ahead.
So, it's TK34S5899.
Okay, let's listen it one more time.
S. So, it's 34S 5899. We'll contact you within the week.
Okay, I hope you got it. He was saying it's TK 34S 5899. Okay, let's listen once again. Okay.
It's
To pen.
ready?
Go ahead.
So, it's TK34S 5899. We'll
Okay, I hope you got it. Now we are going to listen for question number 10. Big team to be contacted, blah blah. Okay, let's listen it.
5899. We'll contact you within the week to give you an update.
Okay, so the man was saying we'll contact you within the week. So within the week would be the answer. Okay. In the week. Oh, sorry, within the week would be the answer. Okay. So let's listen once again.
934. We'll contact you within the week to give you an update.
Okay, I hope you got it. That's all about part 1. Let's move on to part 2, and we can see here is another instruction for us to read. Let's read it. No more than 3 words and a number for each answer. Okay, just keep it in your mind. Okay, so we are allowed to write 3 words, and in case if we need, we can use another number. Okay, now let's listen it for question number 11, and here we can see it's Bentham's Ponapcon. Okay, let's listen it for question number 11. Designed, highlighted in blah blah. Let's listen it. Okay.
Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 15.
Today, the prison system is in crisis. Disorder and violence are the norm in many prisons. With us today is John Whiting to talk about how history could teach us a few things about running prisons more effectively and at less cost to the taxpayer. So, John, tell us a bit more about the lessons we could learn from the past.
Well, today we see prisoners behaving aggressively towards prison guards, who themselves struggle to maintain discipline in prisons. We are giving prisoners too many rights. Maybe we need to adopt the prison systems used in past times to maintain better control in prisons. For one thing, prison systems in the past could definitely teach us about how to better control prisoners with fewer guards. I know it sounds too good to be true, and a bit of a contradiction in terms, but certain prison designs from the past have done exactly this. In fact, it was in the 18th century that the design for the first really effective prison was thought of.
So the answer is 18th century. Let me put it. 18th century for the answer. Century. Will be the answer. Okay, let's listen to once again.
The 18th century from the past have done exactly this. In fact, it was in the 18th century that the design for the first really effective prison was thought of.
Okay, I hope you got it. Now let's listen it. Proportion by 12. Okay. Overall layout. Cells arranged in blah blah around central guard tower. Okay, oops, sorry. Let's listen it.
Even today, the design is far superior to any modern prison building. The design was the idea of philosopher and social realist Jeremy Bentham. Named the panopticon, after the Greek pan, meaning all, and opticon, seeing, the design allowed a single guard to watch many prisoners at the same time. It was an amazingly clever invention. Bentham's design had the form of a central guard tower around which the prison cells were grouped in a circular fashion, facing inwards towards them.
So he was saying the prison cells were dropped in a circular fashion. So a circular fashion would be the answer. Let me put it. Circular, Q-U-L-A-R, fashion. Let's listen it once again, okay?
Around which Bentham's design had the form of a central guard tower around which the prison cells were grouped in a circular fashion, facing inwards towards the...
Okay, I hope you got it. Now let's listen it for question number 13. Okay, individual cell design. Okay, cells looked like blah blah cut into pieces. Okay, let's listen.
the tower. Seen from a bird's eye view, the design resembled a giant pie cut into segments.
Okay, so he was saying the design resembled a giant pie, pie cut into segments. Okay, so cut, here we can see it's cut into pieces, and he was saying cut into segment. So segment and pieces are similar, what should I say, synonym of each other. Okay, and he was saying the design resemble a giant pie. So a giant pie would be the answer. If we put it, oops, sorry, G-I-A-N-T, giant pie would be the answer. Okay, now we are going to listen it for 14. Oops. Okay, effect. Let me highlight. Prisoner would blah blah. Let's listen it.
Each triangular segment being an individual prison cell, with the watchtower at the centre. What made this design so clever was the fact that only one guard was needed to watch all the prisoners. As a result, fewer guards were needed, reducing cost and manpower.
So you're saying as a result, fewer guards were needed, reducing costs and manpower. Okay, so cost and manpower would be the answer. Let me put it. Cost and manpower. Oops, sorry. Oh, okay, with the answer. Let's listen once again.
As a result, fewer guards were needed, reducing cost and manpower.
Okay, have you got it? Now let's listen it for question number 15. Purpose to reduce blah blah. Okay. Oops, sorry. It should be answer in question number 15. Okay. The answer should, we just listen it for 15. It's really tricky because we listened the answer for question number 15, but we didn't listen the answer for 14. Maybe the answer will be come after for number 14. Let's listen it. Okay.
As a result, fewer guards were needed, reducing cost and manpower. It also had the effect of making prisoners behave better. This was...
Okay, Pigeon, he was saying, okay, let me explain it to you. As he was saying, fewer guards were needed, reducing cost and manpower. It also had the effect of making prisoners behave better. Okay, so behave, the answer would be behave better. Okay, the answer. Let's listen for question number 14 and 15 once again. Okay.
So clever was the fact that only one guard was needed to watch all the prisoners. As a result, fewer guards were needed, reducing cost and manpower. It also had the effect of making prisoners behave better. This
Okay, I hope you got it, but it's really tricky because you just heard the answer for 15, the first, then you heard the answer for 14. Okay, so sometimes it's really tricky, but I don't think it's tricky. Okay, you have to practice a lot of time. Okay, now we are going to, okay, here we can see a lot of pictures. Okay, let's read the whole thing. Okay, label the identification sheet below, write the correct letter A to G. Next, question number 16 to 20. Here we can see place A, B, and here you can see it's sale. Okay, sales A, B, sales, and here we can see it's C, and it says arrow indicating rotation. Okay, so it's rotating, maybe, as it's mentioned here. Okay, and here you can see place D, and here sales. Okay, let me zoom it. Oops, sorry. So okay, arrow indicator rotating, so it also rotating. Okay, and here we can see E, F, G. Okay, oops. Now let's listen it for question number 16, the first. Okay, here we can see it's all about Benotham's panopticon. Okay, let me highlight it. Thumbs up. Panopticon. Okay, let's listen it at the first. Question 16. Oh, let me zoom out it. Okay. No, we just okay, let's listen it.
This was because whilst the guard could in theory see all the prisoners in prison cells that moved around a central tower, like a wheel revolving on its axis. Bearing an obvious similarity to Bentham's panopticon, the cells within the wheel-like structure were all also triangular in shape. Brown and Hoare's designs ensured that no personal contact between prisoner and jailers was necessary. However, they also allowed maximum security with minimum jailer attention, just like Bentham's original panopticon design, in fact. The main difference between the three prison designs was in their size. The Potawatomi County
Pause the answer.
County 81 it was never put into practice in his lifetime. In later years, a very similar design was patented by William H. Brown and Benjamin Hoare in 1881. One of these, the squirrel cage in Potawatomi County, only closed in 1969. It was one of three prisons designed by Brown and Hoare. Each had the unusual feature of revolving prison cells that moved around a central tower, like a wheel revolving on its axis. Bearing an obvious similarity to Bentham's panopticon, the cells within the wheel-like structure were all also triangular in shape. Brown and Hoare's design.
Okay, so you're saying bearing an obvious similar to Bentham's panopticon, the cells within the wheel-like structure were all also triangular in shape. Okay, so it's B would be the answer. Okay, as he was saying, it's bearing an obvious similar to Bentham's panopticon, the cells within the wheel, the cells within the wheel. You can see it's all these are the cells. Yeah? And he was saying cells within the wheel like structure were also triangle in shape. So you it's as he was saying, they also the structure, like the structure were also triangle in shape. So B would be the answer. Okay, let me choose B. Let's listen once again.
Within the wheel that moved around a central tower, like a wheel revolving on its axis. Bearing an obvious similarity to Bentham's panopticon, the cells within the wheel-like structure were all also triangular in shape. Brown.
Okay, I hope you got it. Now let's move on to question number 17. Okay, let's see the question. Okay, Petto Watim country jail. Okay, let me highlight it and let's listen it.
And Hall's designs ensured that no personal contact between prisoner and jailers was necessary. However, they also allowed maximum security with minimum jailer attention, just like Bentham's original panopticon design, in fact. The main difference between the three prison designs was in their size. The Pottawatomie County Jail was constructed on 3 floors, whilst the Crawfordsville Jail in Indiana was a 2-story prison, and the Gallatin, Missouri Jail only a 1-story prison. The Pottawatomie County...
Okay, let me explain to you. As he was saying, the Pottawatomie Country Jail was constructed on 3 floors. So here we can see it's also 3 floors. Okay, and this one also 3 floors. Okay, and this one is 1 floor, this one is 2 floors, and this one is also 2 floors. So we have confusion with between these two. Okay, so here it's also 3 floors and it also has 3 floors. Okay, so and he was saying, whilst the Crawfordsville Jail in the Indian was a 2-story prison, and he was saying the Gallatin, Missouri Jail only a story prison. Okay, so this is so option E would be the answer. Okay, let me highlight, let me choose option E. Okay, and let's listen it once again.
And the Gallatin, Missouri Jail, only a 1-story, was a 2-story prison, and the Gallatin, Missouri Jail, only a 1-story prison. The Pottawatomie County Jail also had some extra buildings outside the perimeter of the prison cells. These buildings included the kitchen, jailer's accommodation, as well as cells for female prisoners.
Now I hope you got it. Now let's listen it for question number 18. Okay, the Crawfordsville Jail, Indian. Okay, let's listen it for question number 18.
Missouri Jail in Indiana was a 2-story prison, and the Gallatin, Missouri Jail only a 1-story prison. The Pottawatomie County Jail also had some extra buildings outside the perimeter of the prison cells. These buildings included the kitchen, jailer's accommodation, as well as cells for female prisoners and more trusted inmates. All buildings now are disused as...
So he is talking about option C. Okay, let me choose option C. Okay, let's listen once again.
Male prisoners county, and whilst the Pottawatomie County Jail was constructed on 3 floors, whilst the Crawfordsville Jail in Indiana was a 2-story prison, and the Gallatin, Missouri Jail only a 1-story prison. The Pottawatomie County Jail also had some extra buildings outside the perimeter of the prison cells. These buildings included the kitchen, jailer's accommodation, as well as cells for female prisoners and more trusted inmates. All buildings now are disused as jails.
Okay, we got it. Now let's listen it for question number 19. Gallatin Major Jail. Okay, let me hurry it up. Let's listen it.
And they function as museums to those interested in history and the purely curious. Any modern-day visitor can now see firsthand the signatures and dates of many of the prison's infamous prisoners, which are carved into the prison walls. The prison and more trusted inmates, accommodation, as well as cells for female prisoners and more trusted inmates. All buildings now are disused as jails, and they function as museums to those interested. Only a one was constructed on panopticon design, in fact. The main difference between the three prison designs was in their size. The Pottawatomie County Jail was constructed on 3 floors, whilst the Crawfordsville Jail in Indiana was a 2-story prison, and the Gallatin, Missouri Jail only a 1-story prison.
Okay, so here's a saying: the Gallatin, Missouri Jail, only 1 story. Okay, so the F would be the answer. Okay, I hope. Okay, let me choose F. Now we are going to listen it for Helenden Prison, Norway. Okay, let's listen for question number 20. Okay.
Used as jails, and they function as museums to those interested in history and the purely curious. Any modern-day visitor can now see firsthand the signatures and dates of many of the prison's infamous prisoners, which are carved into the prison walls. They can also marvel at the ingenuity of prison buildings that have never been equalled in practicality and design since they were first constructed over 100 years ago. In complete contrast to the preceding prison designs is the contemporary architecture of Norway's Halden prison. This, for me, exemplifies what is wrong with prisons today. More reminiscent of a holiday camp than a place of incarceration, Halden's prison buildings are surrounded by attractively landscaped areas. The idea is to provide a relaxing environment, but it seems that...
Okay, so he was talking about option A. Okay, let me choose option A. 20. Okay. And let me explain to you. As he was saying, the architecture of Norway's Halden prison. This is for me completes what is wrong with prison today. More reminiscent of holiday camps than a place of incarceration. Halden's prisons buildings are surrounded by attractively landscaped areas. Okay, so let's listen once again.
area exemplifies what is wrong with of Norway's Halden prison. This, for me, exemplifies what is wrong with prisons today. More reminiscent of a holiday camp than a place of incarceration, Halden's prison buildings are surrounded by attractively landscaped areas. The idea is...
Attractively, as he was saying, I hope you got it. As he was saying, attractively landscapes area. Okay, a lot of attractively landscape area. Here we can see. So that's all about part 2. Now we are going to jump into part 3. Okay, let me zoom it in. Now here we can see in question number 21, the question A. Okay, here we can see choose the correct letter A, B, or C or D. Okay, now here you can see the okay, so the question is saying rectify murders were particularly shocking since they remained unsolved because they showed failings in the police force, as as the privacy of the home was violated, since the victims' homes were also burgled. Okay, burgled. Let's listen it.
Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 25.
That was a really fascinating lecture.
If a bit gruesome.
Well, the Ratcliffe murders of 1811 certainly had a significant impact on English society at the time. It wasn't just the fact that innocent parties were involved, or that 2 households were brutally murdered that provoked public outrage and hysteria. The murderer, or murderers, since there may, as you know, have been an accomplice, invaded the sanctity of their victims' homes to commit truly horrendous crimes.
An Englishman's home is his castle, right? So I guess no one felt truly safe.
Oops, we are out of time. I need to restart it again. Okay, so I hope you got the answer. As she was saying, the murder or the murders, since there maybe you, as you know, have been an accomplice involved the sanctity of their victims' homes to commit truly horrendous crimes. Okay, so let's read the question. Since they remained unsolved, I don't think this should be the answer, because they showed failing in the police force, as the privacy for the home was violated. Okay, C would be the answer, I hope. Okay, so C would be the answer. Okay, as as she was saying, the murder or murders, since they may be, as you know, have been complice in embedded the sanctity of their victims' home to commit truly horrendous crime. Okay, so there are the privacy. That means the privacy of the home was violated. Okay, so see the answer. Now we are going to listen for question number 22. Victims of burglaries are particularly blah blah fearful of not being safe in their own house, traum traumatized by theft of personal item, upset by the inconvenience, annoyed with themselves at not having properly secured their homes. Okay, let's listen it.
Or that 2 households were brutally murdered that provoked public outrage and hysteria. The murderer, or murderers, since there may, as you know, have been an horrendous crime.
No one felt truly safe in the comfort of their own home after that.
Exactly. That's also why burglaries too have such a profound effect on their victims. It's often not the loss of valuables or possessions, or even the inconvenience that upsets a victim most, but the fact that their conviction of being safe in their own home has been severely compromised.
But public...
Okay, I hope you got it. As she was saying, it's often not the loss of valuables or possessions or even the inconvenience that upset the victim most, but the fact that their conviction of being safe in their own home lives been severely compromised. Okay, so fearful of not being safe in their own house. I think it will be the answer. Okay, let's listen once again.
See, it's why burglaries too.
Own home after that.
Exactly. That's also why burglaries too have such a profound effect on their victims. It's often not the loss of valuables or possessions or even the inconvenience that upsets a victim most, but the fact that their conviction of being safe in their own home.
Okay, I hope you got it now. But the fact that their conviction of being safe in their own home, okay, that's right, A will be the answer because it's relevant to option A. Okay, now let's move on to question number 23. Okay, before the formation of the Metropolitan Police Force, criminal records did not exist. Most criminal records were inaccurate. Local police affairs held on power. Policing was not centralized. Okay, let's listen in for question number 23.
Has been severely compromised.
But public hysteria broke out too, didn't it? Because there was a feeling that public safety was under threat. It was felt that the localised police forces at the time were inadequate.
Very true. The police force at the time had limited power. They could enforce the rulings of a local magistrate for the county, but they had one huge disadvantage.
There was no communication between county police forces, was there?
Yes. Details of crimes committed within a county were not shared.
Okay, so the man was saying there was no communication between country police force, was there? And the lady was replying, yes, details of crimes committed within a country were not shared. Okay, so that means option D would be the answer. Let me choose option D, as it says policing was not centralized. Okay, as the man was saying, there was no communication between country police force, was there? And the lady was saying, yes, detail of the crimes committed within country were not shared. That means policing was not centralized. Okay, I hope you got it. Okay, let's listen once again.
Huge enforced the rulings of a local magistrate for the county, but they had one huge disadvantage.
There was no communication between county police forces, was there?
Yes. Details of crimes committed within a county were not shared. Obviously.
Okay, I hope you got it. Now let's listen for question number 24. Both the Redcliffe and Ripper murders remain unsolved, were probably committed by more than one person. Exposed faults in policing system happened in the 18th century. Okay, let's listen for question number 24.
When a criminal crossed county borders, they could often successfully evade capture.
Today, that seems so absurd.
Nowadays, with information instantly accessible to all police forces nationally and worldwide on police computer systems, yes, it does. But don't forget that it was only with the formation of London's Metropolitan Police Force in 1829 by Sir Robert Peel that criminal records could begin to be consolidated on a national basis. Even then, some areas outside and even within the Metropolitan Police District remained beyond the jurisdiction of the Metropolitan Police Force.
Were the Ratcliffe murders a bit of a wake-up call, then, to the crime-fighting forces of the time?
More than that, they acted as a catalyst in the formation of the Metropolitan Police. The public, too, played no small part in bringing about the much-needed shake-up in the policing systems of the era.
So the Metropolitan Force was founded over half a century before the infamous Jack the Ripper murders.
Yes. However, in spite of the force's best efforts, the Ripper remained at large. Many suspects were put forward, though.
Okay, so the one girl was asking, so Metropolitan Police was founded over half a century before the infamous Jack the Ripper murders, and the second lady was playing. Yes, however, in spite of Purse's his best effort, the Ripper remained at large. Okay, so that means A would be the answer. Remain large means remain unsolved. Okay, let's listen once again.
Before the of the era.
So the Metropolitan Force was founded over half a century before the infamous Jack the Ripper murders.
Yes, however, in spite of the force's best efforts, the Ripper remained at large. Many suspects were put forward, though.
Okay, we got it. Now let's listen to question number 25. When the Metropolitan Police Force was first formed, okay, let me highlight it. All UK police forces had to answer to it. The police was disapproving. A new era of policing started. Its faults were immediately apparent. Okay, let's listen for question number 25. Okay.
Ranging from children's author Lewis Carroll through to artist Walter Sickert. Despite the notable failure to deliver justice on this occasion, the Metropolitan Police Force could not be blamed for any inadequacies in police procedure. In fact, the creation of the Metropolitan Police Force was a turning point in English law-keeping.
Okay, so here's saying the creation of Metropolitan Police Force was turning point in the English law-keeping. Okay. So I think it would be C, because it's in options it says a new era of policing started, and she was saying this, the creation of the Metropolitan Police Force was turning point in English law keeping. Okay, so let's listen it once again.
Author Lewis Carroll. Many suspects were put forward, though, ranging from children's author Lewis Carroll through to artist Walter Sickert. Despite the notable failure to deliver justice on this occasion, the Metropolitan Police Force could not be blamed for any inadequacies in police procedure. In fact, the creation of the Metropolitan Police Force was a turning point in English law-keeping.
Okay, I hope you got it. Now we are going to listen to question number 26 to 30. Okay, so yeah, we can see what does the lecture say about the following. Okay, lecture. Okay, the lecture say okay, right. Okay, you can write correct letter A, B, or C next to question number 26 to 30. Here we can set not possession of firearms paid by local government, non-discriminatory. Okay, non-discriminatory. Now we are going to listen for question number 26. Okay, the Bow State runners. Okay, let's listen it.
Before you hear the rest of the discussion, you have some time to look at questions 26 to 30.
Were they happy?
One would imagine that that would have been the case. However, the public in fact showed a resentment towards the new law enforcers.
Really?
Yes, so much so that the public gave them derogatory names like peelers and bobbies, nicknames derived from the name of the Metropolitan Force's founder, Sir Robert Peel.
I guess not many people would have wanted to work for the Metropolitan Police then.
Well, at least it was full-time paid work. In fact, policing only first became a permanent full-time profession with the advent of Henry Fielding. He formed a force armed with pistols, known as the Bow Street Runners, in 1749, answerable to and paid by a magistrate's office.
Okay, so she was saying he formed a force armed with pistols known as the Bow Street Runners in 1749, answerable to and paid by magistrate's office. Okay, so that means not okay, that means paid by local government. Okay, as she was saying, answerable and paid by migrates office. Migrates office. So migrates office means it's local. It's kind of local. Okay, so you can say it's B will be the answer. Okay, let me choose it. Let's listen once again.
And he first became a permanent full-time profession with the advent of Henry Fielding. He formed a force armed with pistols, known as the Bow Street Runners, in 1749, answerable to and paid by a magistrate's office.
Magistrate's office. Okay, so magistrate's office means, sorry, it was not migrate. It's magistrate's office, as she was saying. Sorry. So magistrate office means it's local office, like. Okay, now local area office. Okay, obviously. So let's listen for question number 27. Okay, night watchman. Okay, let's listen it.
Prior to that, policing had relied on unpaid night watchmen and constables working for a particular parish. Male householders were chosen for the jobs of watchman or constable, working by rotation or appointment. Armed with no more than a cane, the watchmen were a poor match for the criminals of the day, as were the constables, who were similarly ill-equipped.
Okay, so the answer for question number 27 and 28 would be option A. These are the similar answers. As she was saying, male householders were chosen for the job watchman or constable, working by rotation or appointment. Okay, and then she was saying armed with no more than a can, the watchmen were a full match for the criminals of the day, as were the constable, who are similar equipped. Okay, so B, that means it's non possession of five minutes. Okay, so A will be the answer for question number 27 and 28. Let's listen once again. Okay,
Of what particular parish? Policing had relied on unpaid night watchmen and constables working for a particular parish. Male householders were chosen for the jobs of watchman or constable, working by rotation or appointment. Armed with no more than a cane, the watchmen were a poor match for the criminals of the day, as were the constables, who were similarly ill-equipped.
Okay, we got it. Now let's listen for question 29 again. The Metropolitan Police Force. Let's listen it.
Appointed as watchmen or constables, not surprisingly, lacked enthusiasm for their task, which had to be combined with their normal daytime employment.
So, did the Metropolitan Police Force operate a tough selection process for employing officers?
There were the same conditions for a certain height and fitness level as in contemporary police forces, but when new recruits entered the force, they had to work their way up from the bottom. No concessions were made for class or background. This still holds.
Okay, so she was saying when reserve kids entered the force, they had to work their way up from the bottom. No concession were made for class or background. Okay, So that means C will be the answer. Okay, non discriminatory, okay, will be the answer. Now let's listen for question number 30. Okay, contemporary police force. Okay, let's listen it.
No concessions were made for class or background. This still holds true today.
That's the end of section 3.
So she's saying this still holds true today. So that means contemporary police force means recently those who are working. So it will also the same for question number 30. Okay, let's listen once again for question number 29 and 30. Okay.
There were the same conditions.
Operate a tough selection process for employing officers.
There were the same conditions for a certain height and fitness level as in contemporary police forces. But when new recruits entered the force, they had to work their way up from the bottom. No concessions were made for class or background. This still holds true today.
That's the end of section.
Okay, have you got it? So that's all about part 3. Now we're going to jump into part 4. Okay. So here we can see here is another map label. Okay, label the diagram. Write no more than 2 words for each answer. So you're allowed to write 2 words for each answer. Okay, here we can see. Okay, judge chamber, jury rooms, judge, and then okay, a lot of number like 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, okay, 36, okay, and okay, here you can see defendant and defendant's table, lawyer for the defense. Okay, now we are going to listen it first. The first for question number 31. Okay, let's listen it. I need to zoom out it. Okay, let's listen it.
Section 3. Recording describing a trial courtroom and the conduct of legal trials. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. And answer questions 31 to 40. This is a description of a standard UK trial courtroom. In a trial courtroom, the judge is invariably seated behind an elevated desk or bench. Adjacent to the bench are the witness stand and a section that is slightly larger.
Okay, so the man was saying the judge is invariably seated. Judge is invariably seated behind the elevated desk or bench. Okay, and he was also saying adjacent to the bench are the witness stand. Okay, sorry, time. Okay, so he was saying the judge is invariably seated behind an elevated desk or bench. Adjacent to the bench or witness stand. So 31 is a witness stand, as he was saying. Here is, we can see it's here is judge. Okay, judge is seated behind the elevated desk or bench adjacent to okay, adjacent to this one. Okay, so adjacent to the bench are the witness stand. So this one, he's talking about this one. So 31 would be witness stand. Let me put it. Witness stand. Okay. Stand. Now we are going to listen it for question number 32. Okay. So here is 32. Okay. Let's listen it for 32. Which one? Maybe it's you will saying the answer serially. Okay. So don't be panic. It's really easy. Just you need to be attentive. Okay. Let's listen it. Okay. Let's listen for once again for question number 31. Okay.
Adjacent invariably seated behind an elevated desk or bench. Adjacent to the bench are the witness stand and a section that is slightly larger.
I hope you got it. Okay. Now let's listen for question number 32. Okay.
To accommodate the court reporter. Behind the court reporter, the bailiff.
So he was saying it would be court reporter. Okay. Let me put it. C-O-U-R-T court. Okay, as he was saying, witness and a section. Okay, witness stand and a section that is straightly larger to accommodate the court reporter. Okay, so court reporter would be this one. Okay, let's listen once again.
Are the witness stand and a section that is slightly larger to accommodate the court reporter.
Okay, court reporter, I hope you got it. Okay, now let's listen for question number 33.
Behind the court reporter, the bailiff stands against the wall of the courtroom.
Behind the, as you were saying, behind the court reporter, the bailiff stands against the wall. Okay, so as he was talking about 33, so it would be, let me put down, so it would be bailiff. Okay, bailiff would be the answer. Okay, now let's listen it for question number 34. So here is 34, you can see. So it he's saying the answer serially. Okay, don't be panic. Let's listen it.
Throughout the proceedings. His job is to ensure the court procedure is observed and order is maintained. Directly in front of the judge's bench, located in the central courtroom area known as the well, is a table where the court clerk sits and records court proceedings. Only the bailiff is authorized to cross the well during a court session to transfer documents between the lawyer.
Okay, let's listen once again. I missed the answer.
Directly in front of the judge's bench, located in the central courtroom area known as the well, is a table where the court clerk sits.
Okay, so he's saying it's court clerk. Okay, let me put it. C-O-U-R court clerk. C-L-E-R-K clerk. Okay, let me explain it to you. As he was saying, directly in front of judge bench. So this is judge bench. Okay, directly this one. Okay, as he was saying, directly in front of judge bench, located in the central room. So this one is located in central room. Okay, central courtroom area known as the well. And he was saying is table, where is a table. So here you can see it's a table. Okay, where court clerk sit. So we can see here is a man, and this is court clerk. Okay, so court clerk would be the answer. Let's listen it once again. Okay,
area known as the well, judge served, and his job is to ensure the court procedure is observed and order is maintained. Directly in front of the judge's bench, located in the central courtroom area known as the well, is a table where the court clerk sits and records court proceedings.
Court clerks. Okay, so then I hope you got it. So he's court clerk. Okay, Now we are going to listen it for question number 35. So 35 is here. Okay, now let's listen it for question number 35. Okay.
Only the bailiff is authorized to cross the well during a court session to transfer documents between the lawyers and the judge. Any unauthorized crossing of the well is regarded as being extremely disrespectful to the court and is usually expressly forbidden. Off to one side of the clerk's desk is located a table where the defendant and his lawyer are seated. The defendant, also known as the accused, works closely with his lawyer, who is also termed the lawyer for the defense. Across the other side of the courtroom, the lawyer for the prosecution sits with the plaintiff, who is bringing the case against the defendant to court. Close by is the jury box that covers the largest area in the courtroom. It holds 12 members of the public who are responsible for.
So he's talking about these 12 members of a lot of members. Okay, so he's saying it's a jury box. So let me put in jury box. Jury box X. Okay, let's listen once again.
But who is bringing the courtroom, the lawyer for the prosecution sits with the plaintiff, who is bringing the case against the defendant to court. Close by is the jury box that covers the largest area in the courtroom. It holds 12 members of the public.
Okay, this one is the large box as he was saying, and 12 members. Okay, so I hope you got it. Now we are going to listen it for question number 36. Okay, 36 is here. Okay, let's listen it for.
Who are responsible for delivering the final verdict on the defendant. All those who are actively involved in court proceedings are in the area of the courtroom termed the bar. Behind the area of the bar is the gallery, which seats spectators who may be relatives of those involved in the court hearing.
So it would be spectators. Okay, the answer would be let me put it spectators would be the answer. Okay, as he was saying, behind the area of the bar is gallery, which seats spectators. Okay. Okay, let's listen once again.
Which seats proceedings are in the area of the courtroom termed the bar. Behind the area of the bar is the gallery, which seats spectators who may be relatives of those involved in the court.
So he was saying it's bar, and behind the bar it's spectators. Okay, sitting here. So I hope you got it. Now let's move on to question number 37 to 40. Okay, let me zoom it. Here we have another instruction to follow. No more than 2 words for each answer. Okay, just keep it in mind. Now here you can see the process of reaching a court verdict. Okay, now here you can see usually contents of summary are blah blah and meeting below the judge. Okay, let's listen it.
The well during a court session for prosecution or public. All those who are actively involved in court proceedings are in the area of the courtroom termed the bar. All in actual and jury members use this is. So that is the court claimed by the lawyer for the prosecution and the lawyer for the defense. Then the process of reaching a verdict can begin. Prior to the judge's summing up the case, it is normal court procedure for the judge to meet with both lawyers first. In the meeting, what the judge will say is determined by mutual consent between the
determined by mutual consent. Okay, so determined by would be the answer. Let me put it. Determined by, okay, would be the answer. Let's listen once again.
The judge Prior to the judge's summing up the case, it is normal court procedure for the judge to meet with both lawyers first. In the meeting, what the judge will say is determined by mutual consent between the lawyers.
I hope you got it, okay? Determined by mutual constant, okay? Mutual constant and usually constant is here. It's like similar thing, okay? I hope you got it. Now let's listen for question number 38. In former section, legal procedure is outlined and blah blah is given one of the section. Okay, let's listen it.
And the judge. It is then up to the judge to decide if the summing up will be split into two parts. If this course of action is taken, the summing up will be divided into a legal part and a summary of the facts of the case. The legal part is basically a clarification of what the charge is and what has to be proven.
So clarification would be the answer. As you are saying, the legal part is basically a clarification of what charge, what charges is. So let me put the answer. CL Okay, let's listen once again.
A legal part and a summary of the facts of the case. The legal part is basically a clarification of what the charge is and what has to be proven
I hope you got it. Clarification, okay? Now let's listen it for question number 39. Okay, in the letter section, the judge tries to ensure blah blah summing up of the case. Okay, let's listen it.
in addition to any special directives for the case, such as the need to respect confidentiality. The summary is given to ensure that all members of the jury are reminded of the essential facts of the case. It is an impartial summary of all the evidence heard during.
Okay, so here's saying it is an impartial summary. So an impartial will be the answer. An impartial. She'll will be the answer. Okay, let's listen once again.
Ensure that all confidentiality. The summary is given to ensure that all members of the jury are reminded of the essential facts of the case. It is an impartial summary of all the evidence heard during the trial by.
Okay, I hope you got it. Now let's listen it for question 40 and the last one. Before the jury retires, the judge may offer written guidelines known as blah blah to predict. Okay, let's listen it.
By the jury. After the summing up, the judge will stress the importance of reaching a unanimous verdict. The jury will then retire to consider their decision. If the case is particularly complex, the judge will first issue the jury with a written document entitled A Route to Verdict. This is essentially a series of questions the jury should pose themselves whilst considering the verdict. The time taken for it.
Okay, I hope you got the answer. As he was saying, the judge would first issue the jury with a written document lighted a route. So, a route would be the answer. Let me put it. O-U-T-E, route. Okay, let's listen once again.
The verdict first issue the jury with a written document entitled A Route to Verdict.
Route to verdict, okay? So I hope you got it and you enjoyed this lesson, I hope. So let's see. Okay, before going to submit it, I need to reclick each answer once again because we was out of time at the middle of our practice. Okay, just give me a few sec to re-click. Oops. Each answer once again. Okay, then I'll show you the result. Okay. Oops. Okay, so it was B. I need to select B again. It was E. I need to select E again. It was C. I need to select C again. It was F. I need to select F again. It was A. I need to select A again. Okay, so we're done. Let's submit it and check how much we obtained today. Ooh, we got 9 out of 9 and we are correct for 40 out of 40. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson and stay tuned to get a lot of more lessons regarding this, which will help you, okay, to have a good WAN score. Okay, so I will see you in the next class with another IELTS listening practice test. So till then, be safe and stay tuned. Bye bye.